Round of applause for Elizabeth Wattley.
Megan, I am so excited to be here today, and since you highlighted a few of those, when I left Dallas for undergrad, I went to attend Spelman College, which is the #1 historically black college and university for the past 15 years. You can check US Weekly if you need to get some data there. And while I was at Paul Quinn College, I transformed the football field into an organic farm. And so that's really when I got bit by the social entrepreneurship bug, if you will, of how do you really start to address needs of the community with business principles. And that is what catapulted me to SMU Cox, where I got a concentration and focus in entrepreneurship and strategy with a minor in operations. And rarely do I brag on myself, but I was awarded SMU's Outstanding Young Alumni for the Cox School, and that has just been such a delight to be able to share and bring the SMU community to sunny South Dallas. So thanks for that intro, Megan. I didn't even know we were going to do that. That was fun. So we're here today, one, for you all to come visit the Forest Theater. It is a fabulous place. Although we do not have electricity and running water, hence while we're starting here today, you will feel the magic as you come in. The restoration of this building will serve as a community anchor to spur economic development and revitalization up and down the boulevard and the neighborhood. So real quick, before we go any further, does everyone know where South Dallas is? Yes, okay. Does everyone know where the Forest Theater is? Okay, so I'll highlight a few things here. One reason we want to be sure that we identify and define South Dallas as a community and a neighborhood, it is not a geography. So when people say Southern Dallas, that's everything below 30, that's a massive geographic territory. When we are talking about this work in this neighborhood, it is the South Dallas community. And so you will see that as we're going through. Often you'll hear South Dallas Fair Park. Fair Park is on the other end of the boulevard. So we consider ourselves bookends. And the Forest Theater was created and built in 1949. We are a Carl Hoblitzel Theater, which means we have the sister theaters of the Lakewood and the Inwood Theater, and the Majestic. The Majestic just celebrated their centennial. So can anybody tell me what those theaters still have in common that we don't? Oh, yes.
The sign?
No. Actually, so yours talking about the Tower of the Marquis. We actually have those that are similar because we have the same architects. But there's something that's completely different about those three theaters. Yes? Balcony? No, not that. You give up? Audience? No. Haha, good one. Well, you know that's never had that happen to me before. I guess technically that is a fair answer. No, they are still open. And we are closed. So when Carl Hoblitzel, who's the founder of Interstate Circuit Theaters, he would go and build these state-of-the-art facilities and thriving communities that could support this work. And so that is exactly what the Forest Theater is. It's state-of-the-art. It was one of the first theaters to have air conditioning, surround sound, built in 1949. In the early 1950s, the SM Wright Highway came and knocked out 1,400 homes and divided the South Dallas community. That sparked white flight. South Dallas was predominantly a Jewish community at once, and the entire community moved north, including an anchor institution, which was Temple Emmanuel, was once located in South Dallas, which is the oldest synagogue in the state of Texas, and they are celebrating their 150th year of existence this year. When that happened, segregation policies and redlining began to suffocate the neighborhood. All of the schools were forced to retire their school names, mascots, and colors. So today, when we are touring, you will hear a lot about the Mlk Arts Academy, which is less than 1 block from the theater. The reason that's important is because the school was originally the colonial school. Then it was transformed into the Mlk Learning Center. And now through our partnership with the Dallas Independent School District, it is the Mlk Arts Academy. So through this partnership, it's expanded from pre-K to 5th grade, all the way to pre-K to 8th grade. And that way we have created a pathway of high quality education in the arts all the way through that will build you a pathway straight to Booker T. Washington if you so choose. That is a very data and strategic driven pathway that we created, and that is because in 2018, out of 1,100 students at Booker T. Washington, only 10 came from 75215. And so we know that is not because our students lack talent. That's about access and opportunity. So when we went and we acquired this space and we went and met with the community, it was, how do you want this building to serve as an asset? What do you want it to be? And things started flying off the shelf. People were like, I want to dance, I want to sing. Somebody said, I want the Apollo Theater. I said, I know what that means. And that's exactly how this work resonates with people, right? Like, we are theoretically the Apollo of Dallas. We have that type of rivalry history. We have those types of performances. From 2000, the early 2000s to 2009, Erykah Badu was the manager of the Forest Theater. She brought in acts like Prince, Dave Chappelle. I have people come up to me all the time and give me stories about how they met their wives, their significant others. The chief innovation officer at DISD saw Spinderella DJ there. So you get all of these stories that really begin to connect people. And that is how the theater became this anchor of pride and heritage. So in 1949, the building's built, the highways come through in the 1950s. White flight is sparked, the entire neighborhood changes. By 1956, the neighborhood had transformed so drastically in the demographics that the only way the theater could survive was to cater to the African American community. So in 1956, people no longer had to sit in the balcony. They were welcomed. They could come in and enjoy this facility, and it really became this community hub. So Girl Scout meetings were held there. The Lincoln Band played at the opening of the theater. So there's all these connections and history of really why it is a place and a source of pride for the community. Now, over time, this theater has done like this. It's open, closed, it's open, closed, it's open, closed. This is the last time that we want to go down that road in that rodeo. And the way we're going to be able to do that is for people like you to continue to do this, show up, have interest in this work, and support this work. And I'm going to take this 2 minutes to do a shameless plug. Right now, we are actually raising $75,215,000. That number is very specific for a few reasons. One, that is our zip code, 75215. And 75215, as you know, your zip codes can depict and predict your life expectancy more than your genetic code. In South Dallas, the life expectancy is 67 years. If you drive 2 miles north, you get to live an extra 16 years. And so right now, as we are continuing to fundraise, we really need to bring this building back to life. I'll break down on what our $75 million is towards, but we are also applying right now for an application with the Dallas Foundation. Hello, Dallas Foundation. So if you can all wave to this camera, they want to see the work that we do. And so you, if permitted, will be part of our application submission. So thank you, Dallas Foundation. So I go from that, what you will see as we go through the tour is we are being very strategic in our work to make sure that it is indeed sustainable. We are using a proven national model by the name of Purposeful Communities. Has anyone heard of Purposeful Communities by any chance? All right, shout out to Erica. So Purposeful Communities is a national model. It's a network. There are 27 other communities across the country that are using the same model, and it's three-pronged. It says, if you can do these 3 key things in your community in a target geography, this is how you can start to bring economic development, healthy neighborhood revitalization with minimal displacement. Now that piece is key. We want the residents in South Dallas to stay in South Dallas. Do not leave. And quite frankly, I feel like we found our sweet spot. We have created a place where we are preserving the history and the character and the people of South Dallas, but also building facilities and amenities that will attract new residents to South Dallas. And that's really important because we want to diversify the socioeconomics and deconcentrate poverty, but not displace people. And so that is really how we're using the purpose-built model. So we're going to restore the historic Forest Theater. We've created a cradle-to-college education pathway that's rooted in the arts, and then we want to bring mixed-income housing and diversify the housing stock. So as we're going through the tour today, you will be sure to, I'll highlight those 3 prongs as we're going through. So that is how we get to $75 million, is all 3 of those. The theater is not $75 million, so don't freak out if something. But that is to support this work and those 3 pathways overall in this work. How am I doing on time, Megan? No nose tap yet?
Okay. 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 more minutes. So as we're going through today, the things that I really want you to be excited about is this is a historic restoration, which means we have been federally designated by the Historic Commission, so we'll be accessing historic tax credits. What's really cool about that work is we try to keep things as true as possible to what it was in 1949. However, in 1949, people were not walking on the roof, so we did get our rooftop approved. Right, and so you will be able to have a conversation, a drink, in an event, but behind the newly illuminated historic marquee of the Forest Theater when this is all open. This will be the first time that the marquee is illuminated in over 50 years. So talk about symbolism. I've only met 2 people to date that have actually seen it illuminated. So this is a really big deal. As part of our restoration, we are doing a few key things. We currently have a 33,000 square foot footprint. We will be expanding to 45,000 square feet. Our retail space in the front will be transformed into a 13,000 square foot education hub. And so that will include a podcast room and a broadcasting station, a movement space like a dance studio, a design studio, an editing bay, a 360-degree immersion room, and an artist in residency studio. This is all designed around community feedback, and the biggest theme in the feedback that we heard from the community is we want better educational opportunities for our kids, but no new schools. South Dallas does not lack a quantity of schools. It's really how do we take assets that were there and really elevate them to bring high quality opportunities. So with the transformation of the Arts Academy, they will also take courses at that arts hub in the front. And the reason we'll do that is the fundamentals will be taught at the Arts Academy. When it's time for your brain to go crazy and you're doing innovation and you want to touch and animate and we're just going to create on this world, that will be at the theater and the education hub. And so we really are using that space. It will not be fixed programming, if you will. It will be open to all art partners. So if you have junior players that's coming in using it one day, big thought they can use this space and really work on how we can use all of those spaces to bring so many diverse programming opportunities to our students. Next part of our new construction is we're bringing a 2,000 square foot black box that converts into a green box and a white box to support both live and digital performances. So we're putting state-of-the-art technology in our students' hands. So if they want to make Game of Thrones, which is, I'm a little biased, they will have the opportunity to do that kind of CGI or Space Jam, whatever your movie is. That is the type of resources and access that we are bringing to the community. And of course, the community said they wanted food. So there will be an addition of an industrial kitchen added. Will that include a walk-up burger bar? That does not mean that they will sell burgers. I'm just a burger person, so it's hitting my narrative and it does not leave. And that will also have a terrace for sitting and eating. And there's also going to be the inclusion of green space. We want to bring green space in an outdoor venue. It will be called the Cookout. And yes, you're invited to the Cookout. And then in that area, it's absolutely, we'll just do outdoor venues and music and be another community and gathering space for the neighborhood. So it is really rooting teeth into this work. We have a lot of partners that are making this happen. Our architect of record is HKS. Our developer partner is Matthews Southwest. And let's see. Last but not least, confidential, by the way. Please don't. Is any Dallas Morning News in here? Any report?
No.
Okay, so AT&T Performing Arts Center will be serving as our theater operator. So ATPAC will be coming to sunny South Dallas, and that's a really big win for us, and it goes back to our work and our mission and our commitment to sustainability and also partnership. I do not want to recreate the wheel, and you do not want me to be in charge of teaching any type of guitar lessons or singing lessons to anyone of that nature. So we really lean into experts that know what they're doing for this field. So that is how we're bringing this model to life. Did I forget anything, team? Yes, question. Q&A, great, question.
How long, what's the projection of renovations and like?
Oh, such a good question. Sometimes I'll say $15 million later, and then sometimes we are closing a gap here. It is absolutely my goal. We are not taking our foot off the gas to get this open by 2024. And that's for just this really important reason. It will be the 75th anniversary of the theater in 2024. To illuminate that light in that year, 75 years down the road, So that is what we're working on. And we are, I mean, this close to getting construction started. We've also had to deal with a global pandemic and then an economic war. So, it threw a few things off, but that is the goal. Any other questions for me, please? I love questions. Yes, go ahead.
Who are some of your dream performers that you hope to see on the stage with it?
Oh my goodness. That is such, so, what's funny? I do have dreams, but sometimes they don't manifest in performances. Like, I want Ryan Coogler to come and teach a script writing class. I would absolutely love our students to have that kind of experience. Chadwick Boseman was certainly on that list before his passing. If any of you passed by the theater at that time, there used to be a massive Black Lives Matter sign that went across the front. And it was very intentional that we used the font from the Black Panthers movie because that was just so impactful to our entire culture. So there are dreams that manifest like that. And then oddly enough, on the grand opening, I see an airlist coming from the ceiling, and we're going to be wearing matching attire. So that's all I've got right now. But I do see it. I do visualize this and see the end. Any other questions for me? Yes.
How does the theme of Kismet and then Force Forward connect in your eyes?
All of this is creativity. All of this is creativity. And it unlocks our students' imagination. So part of the design of the theater is really about storytelling for our students. While we have had a lot of political conversations during the creation of this project, it drove things. And one of the things that it drove is how media talks about the Black culture and how our students can't tell their own story. And so that is why it is designed where the broadcasting station, it emotes outwardly. So if you are inside recording, people standing on the other side, outside of the building can hear you, kind of like a Good Morning America. We are putting all the tools in our students' hands really to be able to tell their story and to take the ceiling and the cap off their imagination. So creativity and wealth generation, social emotional learning, there's so many different pieces in there that are really woven. Yes.
Can you talk a little more about the community engagement process? In
Yes.
terms of like connecting, older generations who have seen the community change and have memories of, how it used to be, and then younger.
Absolutely. Well, you are sitting next to Miss Community right now. This is LaShawn Walker, who is South Dallas through and through and is a part of our team. But also, we work really hard to connect the history, the past, to the future. We are doing an event this November that is called Back to the Future, which makes perfect sense and then no sense at all, right? But we cannot do what we're doing without understanding the history of this work. The intentionality and the deliberateness to handicap that neighborhood, we have to reverse it, right? We have to work with that same type of intentionality. The highway that came through that neighborhood, I don't know if you all know, it is now part of a program called Highways to Boulevards, and it is going to become at grade. And so currently it goes over, it divided our neighborhood. And so now they are using us literally as a study to see if they can suture neighborhoods back together. That's going to increase walkability. They're going to slow down with traffic lights. How can we start? And so that is part of our work. It does impact our work. I take credit for it, even though we really didn't do that. But it is going to open up South Dallas right to downtown. And it's also going to open up South Dallas right to downtown. So we are getting ahead of things. Part of that community work and going out, we have the school, the parents. We work a lot with our community partners up and down the boulevard, throughout the neighborhood and the community. If you are familiar with South Dallas at all, they do not let you get too far without being heard. So the best thing about this project, and I have done a lot of community work before at the farm, people would say, I have made a touchdown here, and I can't believe this is a farm. And I'm like, well, now there's turnips, right? And there would be this resistance and opposition. With this project, it has not happened. People want this in their neighborhood. People want this in their community, and I say that with knock on wood. But we have not had tomatoes thrown at us because so many people already have a relationship with this building. People are already just so committed to see it thrive again that they're pushing us forward. They're committed and they want it to happen. Quite frankly, it's not happening fast enough. That's really the feedback we get. So incredible community engagement. Yes.
How can we be allies for the project?
Oh my gosh, this is a great start, right? And so we need to get our names out there. We need to continue to spread our word and our message, so any social media things, but quite frankly, give. We are closing a gap, and we're so close that it's like we can do this. 15 million sounds like a lot for us to continue with, but where we're starting and where we're trying to get to go, we are narrowing that gap. And participation. So there's so many different things. Volunteers. Let me give my volunteer plug. We will have tons of events coming up over the summer where we need volunteer support. Our school needs volunteer support. So there are ways to plug in and be part of this work. When we get to the theater, you will see a QR code that shows how to be a part, and then that will be another way. And can all 4 sports staff raise their hands so you know? Shanae, come out. Okay, there you go. These people here can plug you in and connect you in any way. And they keep the wheels turning, so they put up with me daily. So certainly give them a pat on the back. That's really great. That knows we're on time? Okay, so now the exciting part is coming. When you come to the theater, we're going to enter through the back. And I am totally biased, but I will just go ahead and say this, that thank you for coming. It feels like you're coming to our home. It's a great place. And take time to soak in the magic. Megan, you introduced the indigenous people and where to pay respect. When you go into the theater today, you will see the nod to the Seminole and indigenous people of South Dallas in there through an artist that is in the community. So we'll see all that, but thank you for coming, and I'll see you guys again in like 8 minutes.
Yeah. Remember the